Hi guys, it's Fiverr. Sorry I haven't uploaded a video in a while. I've been going through some pretty rough stuff in my life and I'm working on moving, so that's, not conductive to the miniatures hobby, which wants everything to stay in one place. I hope you guys can at least appreciate the fact that I've made a major channel upgrade in getting a puppet for stop motion. That's gonna be featured in a lot of videos. Only had time to do a little bit of it, but I hope you like it because that's sticking around. For this week's video, I'm very excited to be painting this metal model from which was a promotional item from an old Warhammer MMO. My friend Jeremy sent it to me and made a big deal of cleaning up the mold lines and filling the gaps and putting pins in the bottom because he knows I never do any of that prep work. So for his sake, we're going to be painting it up, and the color scheme inspiration I'm taking is going to be from my childhood. It looks old hammer to me. It probably isn't by technical definition, but when you're only in the hobby for 2 years, everything's old hammer that's metal. So yeah, we're doing a Lisa Frank inspired orc. Lisa Fork. Probably not gonna. You know what? That's staying in the video, but it's a terrible pun. So we started by just stacking up some cork, making a base for this guy. As you can see in the key art here that I'm taking inspiration for the colors from, there's like a purpley blue kind of rim light around the green alien. So I thought that by doing a purple base coat, we could get some of that factored in. Ended up not loving the purple as a skin tone just because it kept bothering me throughout the painting process. So I immediately went and dry brushed it with bright lime green, which helped a little, but not really. I spent most of the painting time just like, when do I get to paint the orc skin green? But it worked out fine enough. The next thing I wanted to do was, I really knew that I wanted to have this cloak be a big feature, and when I decided to do a Lisa Frank paint job, I immediately knew it was going to have to be one of these sort of ombre gradient cheetah print kind of things. So we did some wet blending. Some people will stress out about it. I say just slap the colors on there and kind of blend them together a little bit like you're doing finger painting. It works, and if it works and gets a result that you like, then that is just art. That is a viable technique. I think it looks cool. I just did a yellow to orange to pink, just kind of like in the art, and I liked how it looked, so I said, yeah, that works, and I moved on. For the clothes, they all got little jean jackets, jean cloaks, trying to keep with that 90s theme. Light wash jeans, definitely a part of my childhood. I started painting the bone colors and everything was going along fine, picking out the little skulls and stuff, till I was rudely interrupted by Hector, who reminds me that I have a Patreon now, and our first official Patreon shout out. Thank you, Jeremy, so much for becoming a Patreon. Hector and I both appreciate you. You really do. He sent me this model, which helped make this video, which is really cool, but then you also decided you wanted to support my art, not just with models you had lying around, but with actual human money that you worked for, and that's a lot. Thank you so much. That I was recording the audio, and I'm pretty sure that picked it up, but Hector came by just to say thank you again, so that's a double thank you from him. After I had all the bone picked out, I moved on to fixing up that skin, painting it green. We just went with a bright lime green so that it would match the sort of oversaturated colors. Really was loving painting skin tone that bright. Ton of fun. For the shoulder pads and weapons, I got this idea to kind of do them in this, like, if you had sisters in the 90s, or hadn't quite realized that you identify as non-binary yet, they probably gave you a bunch of like 4girls stuff, like the same stuff that boys would get, except this was in purple and pink plastic and somehow cheaper and crappier. So that's exactly the kind of feel that I went for on the shoulder pads and weapons and armor. Like this is the 4girls brand for orcs. I don't think orcs have a definitive gender, so it doesn't really matter, but it did make me chuckle a lot to be using these colors on something that can kill a space marine. Just, yep, Sure, why not? Pink axe, who cares? I saw this goblin as a redhead, so I painted some nice orange hair for him. Went in and started picking out details like the little bones. And then I also started doing the cheetah print on the cloak. It's really simple. I didn't overthink it. I just sort of painted 3 little lines that made this kind of like triangle shape, but sort of connecting them a little bit more so they look like cheetah spots. I just did that all over the cloak till I had full coverage, and it looked about right. So after that, it was just a matter of going in and adding in the little details. I painted the spikes on the shoulder pads peach, painted some of the panels pink, and then I also added little red flames to the goblin's cloak because I felt like they didn't have as much pizzazz going on, and they really needed that in their life. Then I made the really smart decision. You know what? It was so cool to do the purple underpaint. What if I also did a purple wash on everything on this cloak? And it looked terrible. This was a mistake. Don't do this. I ended up just repainting over top of it. I did the wash and the cheetah spots again because I hated how that wash looked. We made an experiment and it was a bad choice and we moved on from it. I did put a Seraphim Sepia wash, which I didn't record myself doing, but I'm sure that will not surprise frequent viewers of the channel because I do that on pretty much every model. But yeah, I did go ahead and wash stuff, trying to get it a little bit grungy. I mean, it's a Lisa Frank orc, but he is inherently an orc, so we can't make it too bright. Then it was just a matter of edge highlighting. I rarely edge highlight. It's a skill I need to work on, and I figured this model, which with all its big chunky surfaces, would be a really good place to practice. So I got kind of like an ice blue, highlighted the shoulder pads, highlighted some of the weapons, trying to make stuff look spiky. It ended up pretty chunky, but it's a good starting place. I've got a long way to go in my painting journey, and just learning to do stuff like edge highlighting is going to be an important step. Also, as a side note, a couple people requested it, so I did make a Patreon. If you want a shout out, like earlier in the video, we have tiers for that. You can see some of the kind of behind the scenes stuff. And honestly, I'm moving, so the Patreon income is helpful right now. I really appreciate all of the support. And then last but not least, I went in and I added some of these frozen tufts to the base. I just kind of thought they would add like a sort of, I thought they kind of looked like a fuzzy carpet, but on an alien world, and I'm like, yeah, that's about the vibe we want to go for. That finished off the paint job, just adding those highlights and the tufts. And then here is the final orc. Of course, I had to stick the Mothman in there again, just because I have that now. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for all of your patience while you waited for my next video. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That you'll keep coming back and watching more. It makes me really happy to see that you guys like and comment, and I've gotten so many new subscribers, so thanks. Keep that up. It's really cool. I will see you in the next one. I don't know when that will be, but I promise that it's coming, and it's going to be really cool, so stick around.